Hey guys, Woody the Unexceptional Gamer, and I just watched the Joe Lauzon versus Jamie Varner fight. I just watched it again. I saw it live, and oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So, spoiler alert. Joe won. Joe won. In my head, Joe kind of lost the first round, which is unusual. Joe is known for crushing in the first round, and then he won the second. And I had him winning the third too, but we'll never know because he submitted him, and the third ended before the round finished. So Joe won $50,000 because he got submission of the night, and then he won another $50,000 because he got fight of the night, and then of course he gets his actual pay for the fight. Right, he gets guaranteed money to come and fight too. So it was a very good night for Joe Lauzon. He's going to spend the money on student loans and his mortgage. So no loose women in his future, but that's what I would have done too. Joe. So here's the deal. Here's like the core thing as I'm watching this, and it's one of the things that separates winners from losers. Joe lost a fight in Tokyo. I was there. It was a bad day, and once you lose a fight, like once you have kind of like a learning experience like that, especially a public one, the rest of the world sits there and says, "Oh my gosh, you're not the fighter you used to be. Oh boy, you suck. You this, you that." And I don't think they were saying Joe sucked, but they. There's this different perception of you, but that's not the reality. The reality is this. When you lose a fight, you're just living, you go into the school of hard knocks. You are a better fighter than you were before, even though everybody else thinks you're not the fighter you were before. The reality is that you're figuring things out. You're learning from these experiences if you are a winner, which is what Joe is. If you just accept defeat. If you just say, shucks, I thought I was good at this, I guess I'm not, then that's what losers do, right? But what winners do is they take this thing and they solve the puzzle, right? And it doesn't matter like what it is in life, right? Oh gosh, forgive me for comparing UFC to Call of Duty, but the same thing happens amongst Call of Duty players, right? They get killed and they say, all right, what was my mistake? What could I have done better there? And sometimes deaths are going to happen, but oftentimes each of these things is a learning experience. And that's what impresses me so much, about a guy who just sort of, gets back on the horse and starts riding again. He's never lost two in a row. Never, ever. And that's just such good news. When Joe beat Melvin Gillard, I was ecstatic. I was just, yes. And Joe was kind of making a run at the title. As a matter of fact, the reason that Joe and Pettis were on the undercard in Tokyo was in case someone got hurt, one of those two was going to get a shot at the champ. And if you looked at the recent runs, it probably would have been Joe getting a title fight. Now, Joe lost his fight, so you need to win a couple in a row before you get a title shot. But dude, the fight went really well. After the Melvin Gillard fight, I was ecstatic. After this fight, I feel like I was more relieved. Like, thank God he did it. And he did it in such impressive fashion. It was so great. He did a fight a couple years ago where he did really great in the first round. And then, after the adrenaline sort of wore off, he got tired and he didn't win the fight. Sucks. Happens, right? Losses happen. But because of that, I feel like some people who sit there and cling to the negative sat there and talked about cardio for the next couple of years inappropriately. And tonight, my gosh, if anything, he lost the first round and then won the second and the third round, and that's just it's like now he's a cardio machine. Here we were in the second half of the very last round, and Jamie Varner takes down Joe with what they call a power double leg, right? He sort of bends over, grabs both of his legs in kind of a hug, and as he's running forward, it makes you lean on your back. Joe, he put one foot on kind of his inner thigh, right? You can picture him on his back, and then he wrapped his arms around his belly and just flipped the guy up over his head, sort of briefly took his back, and eventually found his way into a triangle. That's how he won the fight. It was amazing, but what's more amazing is the cardio and the not quit behind it. Here's the thing, a lot of times when a fighter loses, what they do is they decide that it wasn't their night, and that they're looking for an exit door. I see it all the time. And, heck, even in training and stuff, I've kind of been there. It's like, all right, this guy's getting the better of me, and I don't like it, but, you know, it happens. And, you know, it's time to tap and get out. And that's maybe an appropriate attitude for training, but not for competition. Joe was, you know, he was at the end of the second half of the third round. He had just gotten sort of taken down by a power double. That was the move that could have won Jamie Varner the fight if it was against a guy who had less fight in him. But the fact that Joe was like, you know, no, absolutely effing not. I will not go down easily. He swept him, and then he ended up winning the fight, you know, 30 seconds later. That's what was most impressive to me. It's the fact that he would not accept defeat, that he would not let this go, that he, you know, just, you know, kept fighting with every last breath, with every last morsel of his body, and brought himself submission of the night and fight of the night bonuses. That's what winners do, right? That's the cool thing. So, yeah, I'm I'm relieved. Jamie Varner was tough as nails. He's the third former champion that Joe's faced. He's got 2 wins and a loss against them. Wow. Congratulations, Joe. That's it's a good night for you. I feel for you. He oh God, I don't know what to say. I'm happy for Joe. Have you ever had a victory, like a big one, like one that really matters? You relish these moments. You get these. It's like, you know, it makes you thirst for your next one. You know, you can just hum along life, never really doing anything grand, and you know, that's okay. You're not hurting anybody, but you're missing out on what could be. And like, this was a super night, right? A night to remember, right? And victory is not always competition, right? In my own life, when I finished school, it was a really big deal. I got 2 bachelor's degrees and a master's degree, and I got them all by going to night school. It was like a 12 or 13 year process where all sorts of things sort of went wrong. I moved several times. I had F's. I had new jobs. I had new houses. I had long commutes. And when I finished the whole darn thing and ended up with my education, it was like, I don't know, like a special moment, like something that I had done. Like, it was an accomplishment that was worth, you know, hanging your hat on. And back to Joe, this is, I think, one of those fights, you know, one of those sort of accomplishments that you can look back on and say, like, yeah, man, you were the super you. Like, you freaking crushed it. You got it done. And, you know, congratulations to you, Joe. It's cool. Like, I'm happy for you. I'm not just happy. Right? Okay. This sounds lame, right? So forgive me as I say, but how often are you proud, right? How often are you actually proud, right? Like, you pleased, I think. You know, you sit there and you're like, yeah, you know, I am satisfied with who I am, satisfied with the way I behave, and etc. But, like, you're not often proud. You're not often like, you know, dude, what you've just done is uncommon. What you've just done is really something special. And, you know, not that I'm his dad or anything, but I'm proud of Joe. Like, I'm amazed by what he got done. And, you know, those are the kinds of thoughts that I have right now. Like, you know, congratulations, Joe. You just did something really cool. You know, you won your fight. I think now he might be the all-time bonus winner. You know, because Joe puts on exciting fights. In his last 13 fights, he has 11 bonuses. You know, submission of the night, fight of the night, stuff like that. That, you know, he's the bonus king, man. He's a bonus king. I think in second place, the guy has 10 bonuses, but he has 10 bonuses in 20 fights, whereas Joe has 11 in 13 fights. It's wow. Congratulations, Joe. I'm proud of you. Not just because you won, but I'm proud of you because, you know, you wouldn't quit. Like, I'm proud of the fact that, you know, after a hard first round, the second and third round were yours. That, you know, you did what it, like, you prepared for this fight to have it in the third round, and you did. And wow, you know, I don't know. Time for some Xbox, baby. You've earned a little bit of relaxation, so good for you, man. Good for you. Wow. I'm happy things went. So that's your moment, Joe. Go get another. All right, if you're still here, perhaps I've earned your like. If you're new around here, you can click on the top blue box and subscribe. I play lots of different games, Call of Duty mostly, but that was DayZ. There's plenty in there. Two videos you may have missed. The left one, what it's like to be a full-time YouTuber. The right one, I talk about YouTube tactics that people use to get bigger. And have a good day.